So some eat to live and some live to eat. Whatever it is related with the nutrition, food. Why food? It is the substance that provides nutrition. So nutrition can be defined as the utilization of food by living organisms. There are some nutrients which body cannot synthesize, and that's why they are needed to be supplied from outside through food. They are called essential nutrition. Like amino acid, absolutely essential 8 amino acids, 2 are semi-essential. When you are asked how many essential amino acids are there, you say it is 10. Okay? If not asked anything else. And so absolutely essential amino acids are 8. 2 are free fatty acids, which are body cannot synthesize but essential for normal functioning of the body. 13 vitamins, 15 minerals. Energy content of food. Energy content of food is nothing but the calorific value of food. It is calculated from the heat released by the total combustion of food in calorimeter. We know another thing, calorimeter. Calorimeter and calorimeter, two are different apparatus, two are different instruments. Calorimeter and calorimeter, don't confuse. Calorimeter deals with estimation of energy of some food material, calorie, and calorimeter deals with the color. That means color generated during the test, which is measured by the instrument called calorimeter. Calorimeter from color. So don't confuse. 1 calorie represents amount of heat that is required to increase the temperature of 1 gram of water to 1 degree centigrade. Usually 15 to 16 degrees centigrade. From 15 degrees centigrade to 16 degrees centigrade, that is 1 degree. So that amount of heat is called 1 calorie. But this is a very small amount, very difficult to measure. For convenience, 1000 times of it is being taken for calculation purpose. So this is 1000 times of calories used for convenience, and it is represented by kilocalorie or calorie, CAL. Kilocalorie or calorie, 1000 calorie, 1000 when we write calorie, C small letter, okay, is equal to 1 kilocalorie or 1 cal. When C is capital letter, you understand that it is kilocalorie. Okay, please don't talk. Now, foodstuff that release energy when their energy content is estimated by calorimeter. Carbohydrate gives 4.1 kilocalorie per gram. 4.1 kilocalorie per gram. Okay. Now it is also 5.9 kilocalorie per gram. But all proteins are not used in the body for releasing heat. That's why in case of protein also, the energy released is taken as 4 kilocalorie per gram. But in case of fat, it is 7.1, and in case of fat, it is 9.4 gram, 4 calorie per gram, and it is taken as 9 kilocalorie per gram. Alcohol, it is 7.1 kilocalorie per gram and it is taken as 7 kilocalorie per gram. Respiratory quotient. Respiratory quotient of a food is the ratio of volume of carbon dioxide produced to the volume of oxygen utilized. That means the amount of oxygen the body consumed for the release of energy from the food material, and due to oxidation of food material the carbon dioxide produced, the ratio of these two gases are calculated and that is the respiratory quotient. All carbohydrate is almost completely oxidized and that's why the respiratory quotient is 1. Fat respiratory quotient is 0.7, protein 0.8, mixed diet also it is 0.8. For alcohol it is 0.7. Utilization of energy in men. Energy consumed to meet the fuel demand of the following 3 ongoing processes in the body. If you don't work also, you need energy to carry out the essential activities of the body to keep you alive, and that is called basal metabolic rate. So, utilization is required for a basal metabolic rate for SDA, specific dynamic action of the food, and physical activity. So, when we calculate amount of energy required by the by some person, we consider these 3: BMR, then SDA of the food, and physical activity. So, basal metabolic rate, it is defined as the minimum amount of energy required by the body to maintain life at complete physical and mental rest. It should be in post-absorptive state. Post-absorptive state means 12 hours after the last meal, and the person should be awake, not in sleep. He should not sleep. He should be in awake state and he is in a comfortable surrounding. The temperature of the room should be around 25 degrees centigrade. So, in comfortable situation and in awake state, in complete physical and mental rest, the energy required by the body is called basal metabolic rate. Important, please note it down. Basal metabolic rate you will get in short note. This is used for why basal metabolic rate is required for the heart function and function of the other organs. Even if we sleep, our heart doesn't stop, organ doesn't stop functioning. So, in basal metabolic rate also, the patient is already awake, so his heart and organ needs energy to function, and that is counted here. Then nerve impulse conduction, reabsorption, say important nutrients reabsorbed from the urine, nutrients absorbed from the intestine. So, digestion, absorption, then transport of the food materials, reabsorption, gastric motility, ion transport. These all needs energy for their activity, and that is called, the energy required for that is called basal metabolic rate. This BMR is estimated by using this Benedict and Roth apparatus or Douglas bag. And BMW is calculated from the, say suppose the volume of oxygen consumed by the subject is in 2 to 6 minutes is A, and under basal condition, and calorific value of 1 liter of oxygen, it is already known, it is 4.8. BMR is calculated from this oxygen consumption, calorific value and body surface area. The normal body surface area usually of a normal height and weight person is 1.73 meter square. So, unit of BMR is kilocalorie per square meter per hour. Normal adult BMR is 35 to 38 kilocalorie per meter square per hour, female 30 to 35. BMR value say from minus 15 to 20%, means if it is below 15% of this or above 20% of this value, it will be considered as normal. Okay. Now, for easier calculation, for calculating this is the very complex C unit. So, for calculating BMR, we just take 24 kilocalorie per kg body weight per day. This is very easier this one, 24 kilocalorie per kg per day. Some author express BMR for adult male, just a round figure 1600 kilocalorie per day, and for female it is 1400 kilocalorie per day. So, it will come when we next calculate the nutrition or energy requirement of some person. Now, factor affecting BMR is younger age group need, in younger age group BMR is more than older age group. Usually each decade, with the increase of each 1 decade of age, there is 2% reduction in BMR. Sex, females BMR is lesser than the male, and body surface area, more having person having more body surface area means if his height is more and if he is very healthy, then he will need more, his BMR is more. Physical activity, person having physical exercise or having more physical activity will have more BMR. Climate, cold climate usually have lower BMR in cold climate. Hormone, some hormone like thyroid hormone, when there is thyrotoxicosis, there is increased BMR. That's why in thyrotoxicosis there is negative nitrogen balance, and patient gets emaciated even he take normal amount or more amount of food, he becomes, he goes on losing weight because his BMR is very high. Starvation, BMR is low. Disease, in infection, BMR is more. In Addison's disease, BMR is low. Drugs, caffeine, nicotine, alcohol, they increase BMR, but anesthetic drugs, they decrease BMR. Race, Eskimos have higher BMR. Significance of BMO for planning diet and calorie requirement of a person. Specific dynamic action. Specific dynamic action. SDA refers to the increased heat production or increased metabolic rate following intake of food. So, when we take food, it is needed to be digested and it is required to be absorbed, transported to the organ, and should be metabolized to give energy. Now see, when we have taken the food, we need energy for its digestion, but the food which we have taken now itself is not ready for giving the energy. However, energy is required now itself for its digestion. Okay. Now, what happens? The body utilizes the required energy from its previous store, from its previous meal. The meal what we have taken previously has released some energy in stored from that reservoir. We have taken out, the body has taken out the energy for digestion of the food what have been given just now for its digestion. That means the food what has been given is utilizing the energy for its digestion from the previous meal, from the body store. So, this amount of energy the food has to replenish. That's why when we give an amount of, say, carbohydrate, for example, to produce 1000 kilocalorie of energy, virtually we get only 900 kilocalorie. Then where is that 100 kilocalorie? This has been replenished for replenished for the energy which have been borrowed for digestion of the present food, which is giving energy of, supposed to give or calculated energy of 1000 kilocalorie. So, actual calculated energy is 1000 kilocalorie, but we are getting 900 kilocalorie. That 100 is the specific dynamic action. It is lost due to specific dynamic action. Actually not lost, it is replenished for utilization of energy by the body for specific dynamic action. Now, SDX, specific dynamic action for carbohydrate, is 5%, lipid 15%, protein 30%, and mixed food it is 10%. See, this energy is trapped from previously available energy. SDA can be considered as activation energy needed for the chemical reaction. So, the meal what has been taken now, the SDA is utilized for activation of that meal for digestion. So, available energy is lesser than calculated energy. Here what I have told you, we calculated 1000 kilocalorie, we need 1000 kilocalorie, so we have given 250 gram of carbohydrate, its SDA is 100 kilocalorie, net available energy is 900 kilocalorie. So, we are getting 900 kilocalorie, where 100 is gone, it has gone for, it has been replenished as SDA. So, when calculating a energy need of the body, we must consider SDA also. To get 1000 kilocalorie energy, we should give amount of food which can release 1100 kilocalorie. So, the extra 100 kilocalorie can be replenished for SDA, and we can get our desired 1000 kilocalorie. Understood now this part? SDA you will get short note. SDA, BMW and BMR and SDA. So, here comes your explain why. During the hot weather, following consumption of protein rich meal, one feel hot and humid for a while. Now, one thing I will tell you, when the food undergoes digestion, due to that SDA, there is generation of heat, because it is utilizing the energy, so there is generation of heat. That is why SDA is also called thermogenic effect of food, or thermogenesis. Now, in case of protein food taken during hot weather, we feel hot and humid because the protein has a specific dynamic action of 30%, that is quite high. A lot of energy is required for digestion of the protein, and when protein is taken, it goes, when it is in the process of digestion, there is heat generation, so the body feels hot, and to release that heat, it gets sweated. Okay, it gets sweated. That's why we feed humid and hot. In other time, in winter or in cold weather, why don't we feel? Because that time either we will feel comfortable or we won't feel hot, because surrounding is comfortable. That's why we may not feel. So, whenever you take, there will be thermodynamic effect or SDA, effect of SDA, but in hot weather, we can feel it. Physical activity, daily routine activity like walking, climbing stairs, kitchen works other than sleep and sports activity are called non-essential physical activity. Need consideration for energy requirement also, because these also need energy. The physical activity has been divided into 3 groups: sedentary, not much activity, just sitting, doing clerical job, going home, taking rest. Okay? Now this type of activity, say doctors, they have sedentary life. They sit in the chamber also, they sit in the car also, they rest in the at room also. So there is no physical activity unless and until he does some exercise. So these are the sedentary activities. This type of people need less amount of energy. So sedentary activity, they require 30% of the BMR as energy in addition to BMR. Moderate activity, they need 40%, heavy activity 50%. Daily energy requirement is thus calculated from BMR, add to this physical activity, then add to this the specific dynamic action required for the food. This is the basic need of the energy. Now, along with this, in case of lactation and pregnancy, we have to add 300 calorie for lactation, pregnancy, and 500 kilocalorie for lactation. So, likewise, we calculate the energy requirement. Now, this is your homework. You will calculate a 60 kg, a person weighing 60 kg with moderate work, what is the energy requirement. Usually sedentary work, they need 2200 to 2500 kilocalorie, moderate 25 to 2900 kilocalorie, heavy work 2900 to 3500 kilocalorie, and heavy work 3500 to 4000. Heavy work means rickshaw pullers. Previously, not the nowadays the mechanically driven rickshaw. Previously, they used to drive themselves, so it was very tiring type of heavy energy was required. So that type of person, pensioners, they lift the things, for heavy things, to the upstairs. So they need more energy, and they are a group of very heavy worker. Proximate principle. Now we have calculated so far about, we have considered about carbohydrate, fat, protein, but these are the principal component of food. But along with this, required amount of vitamins, minerals given. So what is the energy given by the vitamins and minerals? Anybody? Energy provided by the vitamins and minerals. It doesn't give any energy, no? But it is required for reaction producing energy. So vitamins and minerals, they do not provide any calorie. With this, we must consider amount for growth, amount for pregnancy, lactation, and convalescence are to be considered. Functions of carbohydrate, I won't go in detail, you know only, because so many things are left. Now here one thing is there, explain why. Fat burns in a fuel of carbohydrate. Explain why. The statement you have to explain why it is said. Okay, because after the metabolism of oxidation of fatty acid, it gives acetyl-CoA. Now acetyl-CoA for further metabolism, it combines with oxaloacetate. This oxaloacetate is primarily derived from the carbohydrate. Without this oxaloacetate, the acetyl-CoA cannot be metabolized. That's why it is said that fat burns in fuel of carbohydrate. Dietary fibers, again very important. They are unavailable indigestible carbohydrates in the diet, and some fibers are soluble. They are found in fruits and legumes, dissolved in water and forms gel. Some pectin, gums and mucilage, they are the soluble fibers. Insoluble fibers, they are found in vegetables, grains. They absorb water and swells up. Example given: cellulose, hemicellulose, then lignin. The green leafy vegetables are good source of insoluble fibers. Function: they improve bowel movement, prevent constipation. Bowel movement, they absorb water, so it swells up. So once there is a stretching of the bowel wall, there will be movement of the bowel. So by that they increase the bowel movement. And once they retain water, there will not be any constipation. They decrease absorption of cholesterol. Improves glucose tolerance. Glucose tolerance in the form that they make a bulk. So glucose is not available for fast absorption, because so many amount is there and glucose is dispersed in that one. So it gets less amount of glucose, it comes in contact with the epithelial cells. So absorption is slow. That's why rise of glucose is slow. Have hypoglycemic and hypolipidemic action. Same mechanism. Helpful to reduce weight. They make the bulk of the food. So satiety center is easily satisfied. So amount of food will be taken less. They absorb bacterial toxins. Glycemic index, this is again very important. Glycemic index. This is glycemic index, means glycemic response of food is compared with a reference meal, which is always 50 gram of glucose. Now 50 gram of glucose is given to the person. His rise of blood sugar is plotted in a graph. So there will be a graph in the so there will be a graph. His rise of blood sugar will be there. Now the food material for which we want to know the glycemic index is given. So this food will also cause increase of the blood glucose. maximum glycemic index is taken for glucose, it is 100%, and other foods which are having nearer to the glucose is having high glycemic index, and which is having lower than the carb, lower than the glycemic index of glucose will have lower glycemic index. The importance of this is that for the patients having diabetes mellitus, we choose foods having lower glycemic index. Simple carbohydrate has higher glycemic index like sugar, glucose. Glycemic index of carbohydrate is lowered if combined with fiber, protein or fat. But it should be combined any two of these, either fiber and protein or protein and fat or fiber and fat. Two should be there. Two types of food should be there with the carbohydrate. Now see, ice cream contains a lot of sugar, but although it contains a lot of sugar, it has a low glycemic index due to lot of fat content which prevents absorption of carbohydrate faster. Okay, so there is low glycemic index. Now this is the glycemic index curve. Here is the reference for glucose, and this is the test mean. Okay. Here are some glycemic index of some food. Potato chips 80 to 90, ice cream C 35 to 40, quite less. Now, nutritional importance of lipid, that also you know, I won't go in detail. Unsaturated fats contain polyunsaturated fatty acid. The polyunsaturated fatty acid should not be taken in excess because they generate inflammatory mediators and cause joint pain. So, it should be within a limit. Visible fats, these are butter, ghee and invisible fat present as a part of other food items like egg, meat contains protein also, fat also, that is invisible fat. Cereals also contains, then oilseed also contains fat. These are the invisible fats. These we may not count as fat, but that should be considered. Dietary importance of protein. Daily intake, I should say, 1 gram per kg body weight in adult, 2 gram per kg body weight for children, and 2.5 gram per kg body weight for pregnancy and lactation. Nitrogen balance. Nitrogen balance means how much protein is being utilized by the body. Here, I is equal to U plus F plus S. I is equal to intake. I is intake, the amount of amino acid present in diet is equal to the nitrogen excreted in the urine. That denotes that part of nitrogen is not utilized for the activity of the body. F means the protein content of the feces. So that is also has not come for any biological effect in the body. And S means skin. Some of the proteins, amino acids, they are lost in the sweat. So nitrogen lost in the urine, nitrogen lost in the feces, and nitrogen lost in the sweat. They should be, when they are equal to the ingested nitrogen biological value, is calculated from the retained nitrogen divided by absorbed nitrogen into 100. And net protein utilization is calculated retained nitrogen divided by intake of protein into 100. Prescription of diet. General principle: ideal body weight should be calculated for prescribing diet, and that is obtained from height weight chart. There is a height weight chart. From there we have to get the ideal body weight. Underweight means underweight needs more nutrient, overweight needs less calorie. Protein requirement 1 gram per kg. I have already told. Calorie requirement which is calculated from BMW, then SDA and physical activity. Ratio of carbohydrate, protein and lipid should be 60%, 60 is to 20 is to 20. Now this is a calculation for energy requirement of 55 kg person. Here BMW we have taken 24 kilocalorie per kg per day. So here 24 into 55, 1320 kilocalorie is for BMW, BMR, basal metabolic rate. For activity, he is a moderate activity, having moderate activity, so we have to add 40% of BMR. It comes about 40% of 1320 is 528, subtotal this much. Add with this 10% of this one, 10% of subtotal kilocalorie. So it is coming about 184. Now total calorie required is 2032 kilocalorie, rounded about of 50, it is 2050 kilocalorie. This is how we calculate energy requirement. So in energy requirement, 2000 kilocalorie, we have to give 1 gram per kg body weight, 60 gram of protein. We have to give calcium and iron. Now in second step, along with that we have to add, we have to divide it into from how much fat we have to give, how much carbohydrate we have to give. See, protein 60 gram, so it will give 40 into 60, around 240 kilocalorie. So we have to deduct from that 2050. Then rest fat. Normal fat content should be at least 35 gram per day. So 35 gram into 9, that will give energy derived from fat. So that should be deducted from that remaining balance. I mean this protein and fat, whatever energy they are giving, that should be added and deducted from the 2050. Now rest of the energy should be obtained from carbohydrate. Okay. Now it will be around 360 or 300 rounded to 350 gram. So likewise we have to see how much carbohydrate we have to give. As because protein we have to give fixed amount, fat also is fixed, we have to derive energy produced by this amount of protein and fat, deduct from the required amount of the energy, rest of the energy should be provided by the carbohydrate. Recommended dietary allowance, it is set in such a way that it can prevent the development of deficiency. WHO and Food and Agriculture Organization, they have set a recommended dietary allowance, but in Indian context we need a bit modified one. That has been done by the ICMR. Indian Council of Medical Research. They have modified, and the daily dietary recommended dietary allowances what we find in book is given by the ICMR. So different daily RDA for vitamins, RDA for minerals, you have already read previously. Now, protein energy malnutrition. Protein energy malnutrition, as name suggests, there is deficiency of protein, there is deficiency of energy, means calorie, or there may be deficiency of protein and calorie. It is most widespread nutritional problem in developing and underdeveloped countries. Previously, there were a lot of population who had protein energy malnutrition, but presently the malnutrition due to overeating, obesity, it has surpassed the protein energy malnutrition. It is more than the number of protein energy malnutrition patients. Two types of protein energy malnutrition are there, marasmus and kwashiorkor. Marasmus, there is severe deficiency of energy and protein. There is primary primary deficiency of calorie, spelling mistake is there, as secondary protein deficiency. In kwashiorkor, there is isolated protein deficiency with adequate calorie. Hallmark of kwashiorkor is hypoalbuminuria. Hypoalbuminemia, that is less than or equal to 2 gram per deciliter, 2 gram per deciliter, 2 gram per deciliter, not milligram. In marasmus, it is not so less. It will be above 2 gram per deciliter, but less than normal, less than 4. Fatty liver is seen in kwashiorkor due to decreased lipoprotein metabolism, and there is flag sign of hair in kwashiorkor due to protein deficiency. Flag sign means the hair will be alternate white and black band. See, this is the marasmus, and this is the kwashiorkor, and this is the flag sign. Flag sign here is a bit whitish, a bit blackish, a bit whitish, a bit blackish, alternate white and black band in the. Now here is comparison between salient features of kwashiorkor and marasmus. Deficiency of calories is there in marasmus, it is primary, and deficiency of protein deficiency is there in kwashiorkor. Growth retardation mark, here it is present, but here it is marked. The baby remains irritable and it remains lethargic. Then skin dry and atrophic. Here crazy pavement dermatitis is there. There is to be dermatitis in kwashiorkor due to the peeling and cracking of and denudation of skin. Here there is no change in marasmus, but sparse, soft and thin hair, and curls of the hair may be less, and flag sign will be there in the hair. Serum albumin 2 to 3 gram per deciliter, it is less than 2 gram per deciliter. Serum cortisol will increase in marasmus and decrease in kwashiorkor. Treatment on protein energy malnutrition. Optimal response obtained by giving 150 to 200 kilocalorie per kg body weight and 3 to 4 gram of protein per kg body weight. But while starting the treatment, we have to give less amount of protein, because due to protein deficiency there is less amount of digestive enzymes. You know, enzymes are nothing but the polypeptides, proteins only. So as there is less amount of polypeptide and enzymes, so there will be digestion problem if we give suddenly a large amount of protein. So we will start small amount of, gradually will increase and will be fixed in this amount, 3 to 4 gram per gram protein per kg body weight gradually. A mixture of 3 part of vegetable protein, Bengal gram or peanut, and 1 part of milk protein is found to be very effective. This is for what type of protein should we choose. So vegetable protein and animal protein mixed, it has to be given. Monitored by, how it is monitored? Monitored by disappearance of edema. As because there is hypoalbuminemia, there will be edema. So once it starts rising, there edema starts disappearing. Rise in serum albumin level and gain in weight. Some things are there, like prescribing diet for pregnancy, prescribing diet for diabetes, prescribing diet for children. So these things you have to know. Now in books also these are there, but so many things are there, you may not need all these things. Okay. Now another important thing is very that nutritional content of the readily available foodstuffs and fruits. This is also there. So there is a list of, there is a table in your book in the appendix part. There they have given everything. So in exam, for exam purpose it may not be required, but when you advise food, when you prescribe diet to someone, then you may need what food is better than what. Suppose sometimes we people they like to buy apple and take it, because apple is very costly, 300 rupees kg. It is full of nutrients, it seems. But side in her local market or in her home, there is guava, no? Guava is there. She doesn't like it because it is in her home, no? So it's very easily available. But a guava contains more, nutritionally a guava is far better than a apple. Okay. So like that, if you know the content of the locally available food, then we can give them advice accordingly, so that they can easily take those available substances present around her, which are nutritionally very good. Okay. So we will conclude here. Thank you.